which might help explain the government's policy of silence about UFOs, and that is the intrusion of bases along the United States and Canadian borders in October 1975. Now I have learned there were other similar UFO intrusions at missile sites as early as 1967, 8 years earlier. This weekend, I interviewed former Air Force First Lieutenant Robert Salas, who was about 80 feet underground inside the capsule of a missile launch control center on March 16, 1967 at Malmstrom Air Force Base. It was early morning when a security guard above ground called to report a large unidentified light. This is former First Lieutenant Robert Salas.
Oh, my.
About 5 to 15 minutes later, he called back, and this time he was very frightened, very agitated. Said there was a UFO hovering right outside the front gate. It was silent. It was glowing red, and it appeared to be saucer-shaped, although he said it was a bit hazy. It was just a bright red glow. He wanted to know what to do. He was frightened. I think I recall telling him to make sure the outer fence was secure with guards. But I couldn't think of anything else to do. I mean, I was kind of in shock myself that he would tell me this, and in the way he told it. Like I said, he was very frightened and agitated. About that time, he said that he had to go because one of the guards had been injured, and he hung up abruptly.
Was the implication that the object had somehow injured the guard?
Well, that's the first thing that came to my mind. Later on, I talked to him about it after I was relieved. But the guard had been injured in some way, either trying to approach the object or avoid the object. About that time, our missiles started shutting down. And when that happens, we get a lot of bells going off and lights on our panels. So.
And all the missiles were shutting down?
Well, my recollection was that most of our missiles shut down.
The implication was that there was some connection between this red UFO at the gate and an electronic and electromagnetic interruption with the missiles.
Yes, there was some. So this was very unusual. We reported it. We got maintenance crews to go out there, and while we were still down there, before we were relieved, we got another call from another flight, and this was Echo Flight, that the same thing had happened at their flight, and all of their missiles shut down. All 10 of their 10 missiles shut down.
Was this on the same day, March 16th, 1967?
Yes.
So you're saying that maybe at least 5 in your command and 10 in another, so for a total of at least 15 missiles went down?
Yes. And the Air Force has been on record, and I've got copies of what they have stated, that no UFO incident has ever had any impact on the national security of the United States.
And that is false?
That is false. Absolutely. And this was a statement made by the Air Force in 1969. This happened in 1967.
Well, why do you think they chose a policy of lying about it?
Well, that's a good question. And I think I can't answer it. I'd like to have the government answer it. I'd like to have the Air Force answer it. Why they're covering these incidents up. And because I think the public has a right to know.
Right.
They have a right to know that strange and unexplained things that have happened involving UFOs, which are obviously not of this planet.
And the manufacturer of the missiles, did they go over them? And,
yes.
And did they have any explanation for how this could have happened?
No. We've been able to contact two of the engineers, worked for Boeing at the time, that investigated this incident, and they both told us that they were never able to determine the cause, definitive cause. The Air Force considered this a very critical incident. I have one of the documents we received on their FOI request. I believe it was 15th Air Force Headquarters to Boeing, asking for assistance in doing an evaluation, and they said this was to use the words in the document, was a cause of grave concern to the Air Force. And I don't think they would use that terminology if they had any ideas as to how this could have happened.
And has the military of the United States accepted that as a benign warning, or has there been an effort to be at conflict with this presence?
Well, I have no way of knowing what the military is thinking about this. All I can say is our government has made an effort to get rid of nuclear weapons on a worldwide basis, and I salute them for that, and all the other countries that have cooperated in reducing the presence of nuclear weapons and nuclear testing. And I think that's a worthy effort that we have to continue.
Right. And you've come forward on this because another person had filed Freedom of Information Act request on this incident.
Right.
Came up with some information.
Right.
And now you would like to see if there are others who were there at Malmstrom in 1967.
Oh, yes. With regard to my flight, I know there were at least 3 guards upstairs and then other guards out in the field that saw UFOs. At the Echo flight, there were also guards and maintenance personnel that saw UFOs over the Echo flight launch facilities. And I have, to this date, been unable to locate any of those individuals. So if there's anybody out there that was present on March 16th, 1967, and saw these UFOs over any of these facilities
At Malmstrom Air Force Base.
At Malmstrom Air Force Base, I'd sure like to hear from them.
And how should they contact you?
They can write to me, Robert Salas, S-A-L-A-S, at P.O. Box 52721, Bellevue, B-E-L-L-E-V-U-E, Washington, 98015-2721.
Again, that's Robert Salas, Post Office Box 52721, Bellevue, Washington, 98015, or you can contact me, Linda Howe, at Post Office Box 300 in Jameson, Pennsylvania, zip code 18929, or call my fax number at area code 215-491-9842. That's 215-491-9842.
All right, Linda, that was a very major story.
I think so, too.
The Air Force, when they closed Blue Book, said UFOs never have been and are not now a threat to national security. Obviously, they lied.
Yes, and this is what is bothering this man who served underground in the missile silos. But, on the other hand, if the government of the United States and other governments were up against unknowns that had the ability to not only close down their missile systems, but as my own brother who was stationed at Malmstrom in 1975 told me, to selectively change targeting information on the tape of the missiles, and they had no way to stop this, I can understand being in the government's position and not wanting to go to the public and say we have something we can't control here.
Of course not.
On the other hand, whatever this intelligence is, it does not seem, at least at this point, to be operating with some kind, I do not think, of malevolent intent. In fact, this man himself said that in conversation with some other officers later on, that he had the impression that there was a distinct, his other officers had the distinct impression that there was a message here from whatever this intelligence was, that we should not be playing around with nuclear warfare and missiles. That is speculation at this point, but nevertheless, he made the statement that we have changed radically
All right,
in the last
Linda,
15 years.
We're way out of time. I want you to stay on the line for a moment, all right?
Sure.
All right, I'm going to keep you on the line, and we'll be right back. The ability to shut down missiles, or in the case of a Russian story, to put them into a launch sequence. There certainly is a message there, all right. This is Dreamland. I'm Art Bell. There's more in a moment. Stay right there.
Only mattress to charity.
Tonight, more people in the Northwest area will sleep on a new mattress from Sleep Country USA than from anywhere else. 20 stores, including Puyallup, across from South Hill Mall next to Top Foods. Call 1-800-99-SUNNY for the store nearest you.
New, fascinating, a metaphysical milestone. Just 3 ways to describe Big K, the Kundalini story. Big K is a fast-paced, intimate story that will capture your mind as you discover you too might have had Kundalini symptoms. Big K, the first Kundalini book about a woman's long-term experiences with the powerful evolutionary energy. Order Big K at your bookstore today or get Big K by phone. Call 1-800-461-1931. Big K, the Kundalini story. 1-800-461-1931.
Como News 1000. Get connected early with America in the Morning. Weekday mornings at 4, right before First Edition. America in the Morning on Como News 1000. Como News 1000 with Paul Harvey. The rest of the story at 8, noon, and on your way home. Paul Harvey on Como News 1000. Como News 1000 with a taste of something unique. Dreamland with Art Bell. Sunday nights from 7 till 10.
From the Kingdom of Nye, we continue with your calls on Dreamland with Art Bell. Call Art now, toll-free at 1-800-618-8255. 1-800-618-TALK. First-time callers, area code 702-727-1222. 702-727-1222. Or the wildcard line at area code 702-727-1295. 727-1295 in the 702 area code. Now again, here's Art Bell.
Once again, here I am. My God, that's a big story. There's a man who was in a missile silo, and a UFO appeared and shut down our intercontinental ballistic missiles. That's a very serious story. I just spoke with that man during the break, thanks to Linda, who got me the number, and I'm going to be interviewing him tomorrow night on Coast. So if you want to hear more about that incident, put a little bookmark by something or another to remind you to listen to Coast AM tomorrow night, beginning at 11 o'clock Pacific time, and we will interview that gentleman, or more accurately, re-interview him. We're about to go to Peter Davenport, who's got breaking news.